I want to welcome everyone to the 10th Annual Yale NEA BPD Conference. We're so appreciative to have you here today. We're so appreciative that the conference has been going on for 10 years. I'm going to let Perry Hoffman speak a little bit to the history of the conference that she and Seth Axelrod started together. But I think what this has done for a lot of us is offer an opportunity for many different people involved in the treatment process for BPD to come together and listen to each other and listen to each other's experiences and learn from one another. And so I hope by you being here today that you'll also have that experience and that we can learn from you and you can learn from us. Let's see. I want to start off today, hopefully, by thanking the providers, the sponsors of the conference. Yale has provided this wonderful location for us, but they've also provided a lot of resources.
Right there. I'll be right there.
Okay. There we go. So we want to thank NEA BPD for all of their support and for the mission that they've dedicated to educating and helping individuals with borderline personality disorder. To the Yale New Haven Psychiatric Hospital, who's been a wonderful sponsor through the years. To the Yale Stress Center, where treatment and research come together. The Yale School of Medicine Department of Psychiatry, where this conference is now based, and the support that they've provided. I also want to thank our co-sponsors, Clearview Treatment and Silver Hill. And I also want to thank the many people that have volunteered an incredible amount of time to bring this conference together for today. The conference coordinators, Suzanne Decker, Francesca, Jackie Smith, Trish Woodward, our conference staff. I also want to acknowledge, you'll notice to the right of the stage that we have interpreting services. Both Tara McAuliffe and Rachel Donahue are from the Department of Rehab Services, and they are being provided to us today by the Yale New Haven Hospital's Interpreting Services Department, the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services. So we thank them very much for the work that they're doing. You'll also see today at registration and throughout the day that there have been a number of volunteers that are listed here that have provided countless hours to help us get this conference together. So we thank them all heartily.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily. And thank you, Emily and her team, who've really done an incredible job. Running these conferences is a full-time job, and when it's not your full-time paid job, it really is quite a feat to pull off. And I know there are over 300 people coming here today. So thank you for such a fabulous job. So as Emily said, this is the 10th year of this conference, and I just want to give you a little history about it. NEA BPD, and I'll tell you a little bit about who we are in a minute, but we started doing our first conference in 2002. We did it at Columbia University. We had over 450 people there over 2 days, and it was the first national conference on borderline personality disorder. Well, Seth Axelrod, who is the person who usually is the chairperson at this conference and the co-director, stalked me at the next AABT convention. I think it was in New Orleans or something. And I truly mean, he stalked me until he found me, and he said, "We want to do one of these conferences at Yale." He said, "We'll help you do it. Whatever you need, we'll make it happen." And that was the beginning of what's now a 10-year partnership. So we're sorry that Seth can't be here. We know he's recovering, and we're very grateful for that. And I just wanted to show you the conferences that we have done over the past decade. So you can just run down. We started in 2005. We talked about very basic stuff. Then we went on to current research and treatment. Went on to high-risk adolescents and their families. Next was trauma and resiliency. In 2009, problems with substance abuse. 2010, obesity and eating disorders. 2011, common and distinguishing aspects of DBT and MBT. 12 was impulsivity, aggression, and legal involvement. 2013 was managing related cognitive challenges and bringing us to today with a decade of development. So we hope we invite you to go on our website where you can download for free all of these conferences on video and at your leisure review what's happened over the past decade. So I just also want to tell you a little bit about our organization. Our name is the National Education Alliance for Borderline Personality Disorder. We were started in August 20th, 2001, about 3 weeks before 9/11. When we think back how we were all so innocent that day working on the disorder, and then the world changed after 3 weeks after that. But there were 7 of us in the room, and we were family members, consumers, and 1 mental health professional. And we spent about 10 hours in that room. It was actually at New York Hospital in my office. I was working there then. It was on a Saturday. And we decided that we needed to do something, that this disorder was not being recognized by the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And within the 10 hours, we came up with our name, and we came up with an event to do. And that was the first conference that I just mentioned that we did at Columbia in 2001. We are an all-volunteer organization. Those of you that see people speaking today, you'll see the Costellos later this afternoon. None of us get paid for what we do. We do it for the passion we have for the disorder and for the improvement of lives of people impacted by BPD. There's a DBT listserv. Those of you that are DBT therapists know that yesterday a question came across the listserv. What is the ladybug about for awareness? And the ladybug was because each one of the 7 of us had gone at some points in the hospital either to the cafeteria or to the ladies' room, and we each came back and said, oh, I saw a ladybug. We each saw a ladybug in a different room in the hospital. So the ladybug was born that day with us and has stayed with us forever. We tried to take it out of our logo once, and we got such an outcry of emails that the ladybug is permanent now. I just want to tell you a little bit about what we do, and the reason I'm telling you about this is that we are a resource for all of you. Whether you're a family member, a person in recovery, a professional, please do go to our website and use what's there. Everything on that site is for free. So we've hosted about 60 conferences. We have a call-in series, which is really incredible. It's on Sunday nights. It's from 8 to 9 p.m. It's each week a different researcher or clinician. We've had the good fortune of having Charlie Swenson and Kelly Kerner once a month doing Connecting the Dots. People sign up to be on the call just because we need to know how many people will be there. We send out handouts the week before. All of those call-ins are also on our website. It's probably the richest call-in series that you can find on the disorder, so we invite you to use it. If you'd like to sign up to be on the call, go to our website and the directions are there. We also, on our website, have over 150 audio and video recordings with our conferences and call-ins. We have an online course that's there. It was designed by Lois Choi Kane, who you will hear this afternoon, John Gunderson, and Brian Palmer. It's on our site for free. It's on Harvard's Medical College site for cost because you can get CME credits on it. We've done 2 books, one done by the American Psychiatric Association. The other is a book, it's the only social work textbook on borderline personality disorder. And we've just now recently signed a contract with New Harbinger Press with Dr. John Gunderson, where we're going to be publishing an anthology of stories of recovery. We hear so much about people struggling with the disorder that we felt it was also time to share the stories of people who serve as inspiration for other people. The thing that I'm going to talk about now for a minute, we're exceptionally excited about. It's a think tank that we hosted last week at the APA. There were 25 of the leading people who are involved in early detection on borderline personality disorder. Those of you who are in the field and maybe, or those of you who have relatives with BPD have been told that you can't diagnose someone under 18. And in fact, actually the opposite is true. You really need to diagnose someone under 18. Because that's the way people are going to get better. So there were 25 of us. We did a think tank. We stayed in one room for 6 hours and came up with some action plans to make sure that this now is front and center for the disorder and not something that people will not talk about. And lastly is our hallmark, which is our Family Connections program, and you'll hear much more about that, and it'll come alive to you by 2 wonderful leaders, the Costellos. So thank you for coming. Think about May. May is BPD Awareness Month. We have our wristbands. We ask for a suggested donation of $5. It helps support what we do, and we hope that you'll wear one throughout the month of May. Thank you.
Now I'd like to ask Dr. William Sledge to join me up here. Dr. Sledge is the George and Esther Gross Professor of Psychiatry. He's also the Deputy Chair for Clinical Affairs, and he's also the Medical Director for the Yale New Haven Psychiatric Hospital. So Dr. Sledge, please join us on stage.
Thank you, Emily. And thank you, Dr. Hoffman, for your contributions that you and Seth have brought to us. And colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, all of you, those of you who are family members, those of you who are sufferers of this illness, we welcome you to this venue. We're very proud to be a part of it. I think I may have introduced the first one, maybe the second one, I'm not sure which. But this program has grown up under our auspices, and we're extremely proud to be here today. It's good to have such a robust audience of people. This condition needs a robust audience. We need advocates, providers, people who are intimately familiar with the circumstances and who are willing to put in the time and the effort to learn how to treat it effectively. We're all intimate acquaintances of borderline personality disorder, and we're all in it together. Let me begin by thanking the sponsors again, just to make clear that we are deeply indebted to them, the Yale New Haven Hospital and the system of Yale New Haven, the Department of Psychiatry, the medical school, have been with us since the beginning. Of course, the National Educational Alliance for Borderline Personality Disorder. This is a true partnership with you. And the Yale Stress Center and the Clearview Treatment Center, and of course Silver Hill Hospital, all two places that join us in treating this condition. And a special thanks to Emily for filling in for Seth. This is much appreciated. For those of you who may not know, Emily is a gifted psychotherapy researcher, and it's my dream that someday we'll be able to figure out a way that she can work at Yale New Haven Psychiatric Hospital. I want to acknowledge you, Dr. Hoffman, for your steadfast partnership in this endeavor. We wouldn't be here without you, and your work with Seth on this project has been a true act of love and effective love over these decades. And we continue, and we hope it will continue for past all of our times here. As long as it's needed. And I want to I'd hoped that Seth would be here today. I realize he's not, but I know he's going to see this, and so I want to make sure that he understands that we're thinking of him, that we appreciate his leadership and his part in this in the past and in the future, and his persistence in creating this program and this opportunity. We look forward to having you back, Seth, and take care of yourself and your recovery, and we'll see you soon. You're the man. Thank you. So I think separate from Seth and Perry is Seth and Perry together. In a sense, it's one of those things where the sum is more than the elements individually. And so I just want to acknowledge the importance of your partnership and how you've worked so well together over all this time, and how we've been able to continue to have this to be such an effective program. And so for that, we're deeply in your debt to both of you. The time is right for us to consider and reflect on the history and the condition of borderline personality and its connection to suicidality and other distress states. This field has been a leadership also in the development of effective psychotherapies in a general sort of way. For whatever reason, the ability to conceptualize, study, implement, and reflect on different approaches has been a premier aspect of the field of the development of psychological treatments, at least for borderline personality. The rest of the areas of psychiatry can look to you for leadership and how to do this. We have a great body of evidence that supports the effectiveness of psychological approaches to borderline personality. And we all need to further that evidence, to develop it, to disseminate it, to practice it, and to make sure that we practice it well. We have multiple treatments, as I mentioned, with different approaches, and all have some evidence of effectiveness, some great evidence. The presence of these different approaches, though representing fundamental differences about how we view human nature, have a common pathway to success and provide us with a fleeting glimpse of what are the effective elements of psychotherapy if we are careful in how we study them and compare them and think of them. So let me challenge you all today to keep that in mind as you hear these different approaches and as you think about them and you think about what roles they may play in your operations, in your life. These side-by-side comparisons make us wiser, and we have to be open to different approaches, particularly those that we're not familiar with. So you, all of you here, have signaled your interest in this task by virtue of you being here, and I challenge you to take it up with energy and gusto and make it easier for people like me who manage or try to manage the system to do a better job. So with that, let me thank you for your advocacy, for your presence, and let's let the show begin. Emily.
All right. Grab your computer, please. Here. Before we get started with Suzanne Witterholt, there's a couple more things I want to say. I realized as everyone was talking that there are people that usually are present here that have not been spoken about yet. But the first person that is actually here that I want to mention, who's also been a key part of the Yale NEA BPD conference through the years, is Trish Woodward, who has played such an integral role through the years in helping us plan this conference and volunteered so much of her time. So I wanted to just say thank you, Trish, for all your work through the years for that. Where is she? Is she in here? She, in fact, might still be out at the front table, or is she upstairs? Yeah. There you are. Thank you, Trish. And the other thing that has been briefly mentioned, I just want to clarify. So as you might notice if you've been at this conference before, I am not usually the face of this conference up here. Usually Seth Axelrod is the person moderating for the day. And as you've heard mentioned, he's not here. He is on medical leave right now, but I did just speak to him this morning, and he sends his well wishes and wants to thank you all for coming. And he absolutely plans on being here next year playing this role. So he looks forward to seeing all of you back next year.